Good afternoon and welcome to our financial workshop, Feeling Taxed, part of our Community Candor series offered by Communities First. We're excited that you have joined us this afternoon and really excited about the guests that we have and information that's going to be shared today. So the title of our session is Feeling Taxed, Tax Preparation Resources, and we're here to get you ready for this upcoming tax season. And this is part of Show Me the Money Day, which is an annual initiative by the state of Michigan to connect individuals to, well, it's to kick off the tax season, but also connect individuals to financial resources and information. So we have a couple of things. We have a survey that will be displayed on the screen throughout the session, as well as in the comment section. So if you're tuning in, please fill out that survey. We want to know that you were here. We want to know if this information that you received today was helpful. And we also want to give you a gift card for participating. So we have a couple of gift cards that will be raffling off to those who fill out the survey. So if nothing else, at least try and get that gift card. And if you have questions throughout this, we will be taking those questions live and trying to get those questions answered. So go ahead and put them in the comment section, and we'll be checking that throughout this session. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guests. And so I'll call on each of them and they'll tell you a little bit about who they are and their background, and then we'll jump into this agenda that we have here. So I'm going to start in the corner with Dominique.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dominique Williams, and I'm Program Manager with the Income Tax Team at Wayne Metro.
Welcome. We are so happy to have you here. And Ms. Clemmons.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derocha Clemmons, and I'm the site coordinator from Wayne Metro.
Excited that you're with us as well. And Mr. Brown, back
Hello.
again.
Hello, this is Antonio Brown. I'm a CPA with the John L. Group, doing business as John L. Financial Services inside the city of Flint. And I'm glad to be back.
Great. Thank you all for joining us. And so just really quick, let me tell you who Communities First is. Communities First is a nonprofit community development organization. We were founded 12 years ago with the mission of building healthy, vibrant communities through economic development, affordable housing, and innovative programming. And we developed this Community Candor series because we really wanted to address the needs of families and individuals in the communities and make sure that we're providing resources to answer the questions that you have on your mind, but may not necessarily feel comfortable talking about. So let's go ahead and jump in. Are you feeling taxed? Are you ready for tax season? There are probably three stages that people tend to fall in. Either you're really excited and you're looking forward to a refund, or you're feeling anxious because you think you're going to owe, or you're somewhere in the middle and you have some uncertainty and some questions. And so wherever you lie on the spectrum, we hope to address your needs and answer some of your questions today. So let's start with Antonio. Can you maybe tell us, it's tax season, how do I know if I even need to file?
Sure, that's a great question. Renee, so typically single people or married filing joint, whichever category you fall into, there's some income results. So if you are under the age of 65, you generally need to file federal taxes if you have unearned income, such as dividends, interest, If that was more than $1,100, then you have to file. If your earned income is greater than 12,500 for 2021, then you are required to file. So, if you have unearned income, and unearned income also includes unemployment. So if you had unemployment, if you have any interest, any dividends, if you have, unearned income, investment income. So maybe you own a part of a company and you're getting some residual income. That would be required for you to report. And certainly if you have earned income, meaning you have a W-2, you work a job, or you're self-employed, you have a business, perhaps you're an independent contract worker, and you receive the 1099 NEC, you would need to report that income on your tax return in general.
Thank you. And just a follow-up question, Social Security, is that unearned income?
Yes, Social Security is considered unearned income, but in many cases, if you're retired and you're receiving Social Security, it may or may not be taxable given other income that you may have received. So it's always good to just, if you're retired and you're on Social Security, it's good to kind of reach out to a tax professional to see if you're required to file. You may or may not have to file Social Security, a federal tax for Social Security only.
Thank you for that clarification. And even if you don't have to file, if you're due a refund, you shouldn't leave that money on the table, right? You should definitely
Correct.
file and take advantage of that. Okay, so now we know if we're required to file. Let's say we are. Can we do it ourselves? Should we engage a professional? And I'll open this up to the group, anybody who wants to answer. What's the benefit of working with a tax advisor, and how should people, go about that?
Renee, I would like to take that question. For Wayne Metro, we would love for you to come to Wayne Metro. We have no cost tax preparation. Our employees and our staff and our volunteers, we're trained IRS certified preparers. And to come to us, you know that you have a certified professional preparing your taxes, as well as going over the credits and advantages that you have and not leaving money on the table.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I think, at the point, I tell people, at the point that you have questions that you can't find answers to. And it's one of those things where, we live in a Google age, and there's a lot of information out on the internet, and one person's opinion is another person's argument, right? So if you feel that you have unanswered questions, certainly reach out to a tax professional at that point. And another thing, for people who may have more complex tax returns, maybe you own a business, or you are ownership of a partnership, a LLC, and you kind of want some tax planning and tax strategies. You may want to seek out a CPA or an enrolled agent, or someone who has the credentials in taxation to help represent you before the IRS and answer those questions. So can you prepare your taxes yourself? Absolutely. The IRS allows free services through their website as well. I tell people, at the point that you want a partner to help you on your tax return and perhaps take some of the burden and some of the responsibility for filing that tax return, if you need that comfort, then certainly you want to seek out a tax professional, not just a tax preparer. a tax professional.
Thank you for sharing that. And just to follow up on a couple of things that that you both mentioned, um, making sure that you're working with someone who's qualified to assist you with your taxes, right? And so, how do you check to make sure, can you go to the IRS? Is there a list or something that you can look at to make sure that the person who's assisting you is actually certified or qualified?
Sure. At least for CPAs, we must register with the state of Michigan. If we're certified, we have to. So a person could go to michigan.gov, www.michigan.gov, and click on license search, and you could type the person's name in and see if their license is valid, if it's active. So the state of Michigan allows the public to check and evaluate whether or not the CPA has an actual license. I'm a part of a lot of different associations. You got the Michigan Institute of Certified Public Accountants. They have a registry there. You have the AICPA, which is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. If the CPA is a member of any one of those two groups, you'll be able to verify their membership. So that's another way for you to verify the credentials of a certified public accountant.
Thank you. And the importance of that is, if you're having somebody do your taxes for you, they definitely should be signing on your tax form that they're completing your taxes, because if there's an issue or something comes back or there's an audit and they didn't sign your return, the onus is 100% on you, right?
Yes, Renee, that is correct. It would be a self-preparation method at that point.
Right.
And speaking of red flags, by the way, if your tax preparer is not willing to sign the tax return, that's a red flag, because you didn't self-prepare. Especially if you've paid a preparer, then that preparer is paid to sign that tax return. They should have a P10, preparer tax identification number. It would start literally with a P. So their signature is P, their number is P, and then a series of numbers following that. So you should look at your tax return, look at the preparer signature line item, and ensure that preparer has signed the tax return, and you see their P10 number, the preparer tax identification number.
Yes, and just to piggyback off of what Antonio said, you can also check the preparer's history with the Better Business Bureau. Taxpayers can verify enrolled agent status also by going on irs.gov.
Absolutely. I wanted to add as well, because we offer no cost services, that doesn't change our certification, our educational levels, as well as our commitment to the community to prepare an accurate return.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. So let's talk about that. Because oftentimes when you think of going to a CPA or some service to get your taxes done, it sounds expensive, right? So let's talk about the free tax assistance that Wayne Metro provides, and how people can connect with that service. What the requirements are, and what type of information people need to bring in order to get their taxes done. So could you talk a little bit more about the free service and how that works?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. If there's because we're under the VITA TCE program, that program is designated for low to moderate income as well as seniors. So if you earn under $58,000 for the year or have a total income of under $58,000, we can prepare your taxes at no cost to you and e-file. That allows the under modularized communities um, to save $200 to $500 for income tax services that they could apply somewhere else. Every penny counts. So that is part of Wayne Metro's commitment to the community to provide no cost tax preparation services. The documents that we require are the original copies of your Social Security card, your ID, the original copy, for us to verify who you are. We would also need your banking information if you wanted direct deposit, if you were eligible for a refund. This has been something that has come up, I'm sure, over the years, but it's something that's in the forefront. If the IRS has issued you an identity protection pin, it is so very important that your taxpayer has that information because you can't file a return without it. The letters that were received for earned income credit as well as child tax credit, those letters are important in filing your taxes for this year. It will significantly, impact your return. If you're married, we need both of you guys together to file your return. Your wage information, your W-2s, your 1099s, your pension statements, Social Security statements, statements from SSI. All of that information is relevant in preparing your taxes.
If I can add, I just so you all know, these services that's offered by Wayne Metro Community, and as a part of VITA, I started preparing tax returns through the VITA program. I can attest that, I had to go through about 2 or 3 days of actual training. And these were the times where before VITA was offering e-file services, we had to prepare them by paper. So I cut my teeth in taxation through the VITA program, and they do an amazing job servicing the community. So I advocate for community-minded, community-centered services such as this. So yeah, I just want to add that 2 cents in. You can be a VITA volunteer and end up a CPA. So so that's a plug for VITA.
Thank you.
Yes, most definitely. And I just want to chime in. We offer both in-person and virtual services for those people who are still, in a house or, we have a pandemic going on. We offer virtual services, in-person services at locations conveniently near you. We're located at multiple sites. We're in Northwest Activity Center. We're in Westland. We're in Wyandotte, just to name a few. We're located across Wayne County. And that information will be provided as well.
Thank you. And I would echo Antonio's comments because I also was a VITA volunteer. I got my degree in accounting. I just decided to go a different route, but it's an excellent program servicing communities across the state and with these resources. So she mentioned that Wayne Metro is available throughout Wayne County. If you happen to be watching this and you're sitting outside of Wayne County, there are, VITA sites, again, throughout the state of Michigan. And just a note, in the comment section, we have included their contact information. So if you're interested in setting up an appointment, they are offering their services both in person and virtually. depending on, what's most convenient for your situation. So please mark down their contact information and reach out. And throughout the session, if there are any questions, we will answer those as they come in. So just to summarize that information that was provided, these free tax preparation services are available to those earning under $58,000 a year. So, that a lot of families would qualify for this service and should definitely take advantage of these resources that are out here in the community. And if you have any questions, again, their contact information is in the comments. So feel free to reach out. You're not alone. There are folks that are willing and able to, help you go through this process. And I just want to mention, go ahead, Ms. Clemmons.
Renee, I wanted to add as well, if you have SSI income or Social Security income, don't shy away. There are new credits that you can be eligible for. And it's not until you reach out to a tax professional that we can even go over that information with you. One credit that stands out is the earned income tax credit. Most often you think that I have to have children to qualify, or I have to earn a certain amount of income. That's not necessarily true. And last year during COVID and everything that impacted the community, the financial aspects of our community, Congress passed a law that would allow us to look back at your 2019 tax return if you earned less in 2020 and 2021 to make you eligible for certain credits. So it's very important to reach out to us. We have little nuggets and golden nuggets that we love to give to the community.
Absolutely. And we have a question that just came in. Would you mind just going over the document list again? What do individuals need to bring when they set up their appointment with a tax provider, a preparer? What do they need to bring with them to get their taxes completed?
Original ID, original Social Security card, the original Social Security cards of any dependents, your W-2, 1099 or wage information, as well as your healthcare information. If you are a property owner, we need to know your tax value of your property, the property taxes that you've paid. If you're a renter, who's your landlord? What's their address? How much have you paid in rent? Did you stay there the entire year? Home heating credit. What did you pay for your home heating cost to be eligible for that credit? We also have a list of the documents on our website at waynemetro.org/taxes. There's a list there so that you can reference back.
And is it fair to say that if somebody has questions or they're missing a document and they need help obtaining that they could get your assistance with that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And accessing some property owners don't know their taxable value of their property or what taxes that they paid. Yes, we absolutely can help them obtain that information.
That's great. So I just want, everybody listening in to know that, if you're missing some information, don't let that stop you. Reach out. Wayne Metro is not only there to help you get your taxes filed, but they provide a lot of services. And so they'll help you get what you need so that you can be successful. And there's another question that just came in, and so I just want to address this really quickly. So these services are provided in person or virtual, right? So
Correct.
we encourage people to reach out. We've got their website, email addresses, and even phone numbers in the comment section. So reach out and feel free to set up your appointment. And so you mentioned that, there are credits that people are eligible for, right? And so let's talk about that a little bit, because there are a lot of things that have happened over this pandemic that have changed what you can qualify for with regards to deductions and credits. And we've got these stimulus checks out here that there's a lot going on. And so I'm hoping that, Antonio, maybe you can break down some of these changes so that people are accessing, all of the credits and deductions that they're eligible for.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Renee. Just some of the big, Miss Clemmons, she kicked, she talked about that earlier. The earned income tax credit is a huge credit that people qualify for. There are certain income limitations. I won't bore you with those income limitations because they vary based on whether or not you have dependents or qualifying dependents or relatives. And then I always tell people the earned income credit is like a bell curve. As you earn income, it goes up and then it peaks. And then as you earn more income, it starts to decrease. So, but certainly, we would be able to assist you if you qualify for the earned income credit. The child tax credit, that is probably the quintessential biggest topic in 2021 tax season, because starting with the American Reinvestment and Protection Act, ARPA, the Congress allowed the IRS to issue advanced child tax credit payments. The maximum credit was $3,600 if you had a child dependent under the age of 5. You qualified for a child tax credit of up to $3,600. If they were the age 6 through 17, that was a change in the law, because it used to be the child tax credit was only up to 16. But for 2021 only, if your child was 17, you could qualify for a $3,000 tax credit. So Congress authorized the IRS to issue advance payments for half of that child tax credit. So individuals would have started receiving those payments in July of 2021 through December. As of today, as of right now, there aren't any advance payments being paid out anymore. So that did cease in December, but who's to say that Congress won't pass another law to start to get that information or do those advance payments again. But the advanced child tax credit is the most important credit that's causing a lot of confusion, because the advance was based off the taxpayer's 2020 tax return. You had Congress allowed you, or the IRS allowed you, to opt in or opt out of that advanced child tax credit. So you had to go to the IRS website and click yes or no, opt in or opt out. But the IRS issued a letter 6419. That letter is important for tax preparation because we have to reconcile the advanced child tax credits received versus the overall or full credit that you may be eligible for. So the letter is going to tell you how much you received and also who were the qualifying dependents. So for instance, if you had 2 children that were over 5 but younger than 18, so anywhere from 5 to 17 years old, you had 2 qualifying dependents, you were eligible for a credit of $1,500. Okay, so you would have received $1,500 per child. No, excuse me, $1,500 equal. So you would have gotten a tax credit or some information for every month. You would have received about $500 or so, $300 or so. And that credit, you would have gotten the letter 6419. It would have had the $1,500 that you received for the child, plus it would have said 2 dependents. That letter is going to be required to be filed with the IRS. If you were married and you filed jointly, you're going to receive 2 letters. You're going to receive a letter from the taxpayer that's going to be half, and you're going to receive a letter from the spouse that's going to be half of what you claimed or what you received. Both letters are going to be necessary for tax filing purposes. So it's important that whether you're preparing the tax return yourself or you're using a preparer to do that, that letter 6419 is going to be important to receive. If you did not receive the letter or you are missing the letter, you can go into the IRS website, www.irs.gov, and create an account. If you don't already have an IRS account, you can create an account and you can look that credit up on your IRS account. It's going to be imperative that you report that, because if you don't, there's going to be major delays in tax refunds. Major delays. And when I say major delays, I mean you may not receive that income tax return or refund until sometime October, November, December. So I do want to make mention of that. The other one is the stimulus payment or the economic impact. Yes. I need to pause.
Yeah, I just wanted to, while you're on this topic, I just wanted to mention that for those that are due or owed the child tax credit and they didn't get those payments last year, even though the payments have stopped, when they file their taxes this year, they can still claim that. So
yes, you are still eligible for for the full credit. The advance payments would have been in advance of the credit that you qualified for. Another thing to be cautious of is because this was an advance based off your 2020 tax return, if your income increased significantly from 2020 to 2021, you may actually have to pay some of that back because your income increased. So this is causing a lot of confusion. And just to throw another wrinkle in this whole situation, if you are in an alternate situation where perhaps via divorce decree or child custody requirement through the friend of the court, where you are alternating who claims who, you're alternating claiming your dependent. Remember, the advance payments was based off of the 2020 tax return. So whoever claimed that child in 2020 received the advance payments if they didn't opt out. It may be your turn to claim the child in 2021. So if that child is not on the person's 2021 tax return in which they claimed the advance payments, there may be some repayment. You may have to pay that credit back. So the IRS guidance on this was, in this particular situation, was they should have opted out if they knew they weren't going to claim the child in 2021. So that's the IRS guidance. Whether I agree or agree personally, that's another topic of conversation. But that is an issue that we've seen in the tax preparation world. But you are eligible to claim the other part of the child tax credit as well. So you still need to file. The other thing was, if I can, because I know we're running short, but the stimulus or the economic impact payment, that third stimulus you probably would have received it in either March or April of 2021. It was for $1,400, up to $1,400 per individual that was claimed on your 2020 tax return. You are going to receive a letter 6475 that will tell you how much economic impact payment, and I have to say economic impact payment because that's the actual term. I want you to know that it's not the stimulus. It won't come, the letter will not say your stimulus. It will say your economic impact payment. Okay, that's going to tell you how much money you received in economic impact payments, and that will need to be reported. If you did not get that payment, you can still claim that as a recovery rebate credit. So if you're eligible for the full amount, you can still claim that on your 2021 tax return, even if you didn't get it in advance. So that's another thing. The last thing, it's a huge topic, it's a huge change, and it's a huge benefit for a lot of taxpayers who are paying daycare expenses or dependent care expenses. In 2021, those daycare expenses that you claim, that credit, that child dependent care credit, is a refundable credit. It's a refundable credit this year. So that means if you paid daycare expenses, you will be eligible for a refundable credit as opposed to just a reduction of your taxes. So, gather that information as well. If you paid daycare expenses, get that letter from your daycare provider or your child care provider and bring that along with you to your tax appointment.
And what if your daycare provider is a family member?
Yeah. So if they're a household, so they would be considered a household worker. Hopefully you would have had some type of agreement with the family member or the household worker. You would need their information, their social security number, names, and then how much you paid them throughout the year. You can still claim the child care credit even if your relative was taking care of the child and you paid them. The emphasis is on payment. Did you pay Did you pay auntie? Did you pay mom to watch the kid while you were at work? And if so, you need documentation to prove that.
And they're going to have to claim that as income too. So there's a two-way street there.
Absolutely.
Right. And we have a question that came in about donations. Can you talk about donations for people who, give to their favorite charity or tithe?
Sure. Ms. Clemmons, do you want to answer that one for me?
Sure. IRS guideline says $300. That's the max that you can receive for charitable donations, no matter what you've given, $300.
And if you're married filing joint, it's $600. So it's
Correct.
$300 per individual. And if you fall into the situation where you are itemizing your deductions, so your itemized deductions, so you calculate your medical expenses, you calculate your state and property taxes, real estate taxes, home, if you own a home, your mortgage interest, certain insurances that you pay, charitable organizations, all those add up and they're over the threshold. If you're single, 2,000. If they're greater than the standard deduction, I'll just leave it at that. If your itemized deductions are greater than the standard deduction and you have charitable deductions, you're still going to get that $300 above the line. The rest of it you're going to get as a deduction on your itemized deduction calculation, your Schedule A. So, if you fall in that situation and things are unsure, please reach out to a tax professional.
Thank you. And I think that's key, because there was so much that we just covered with regards to the child tax credit, the economic impact payment, the charitable deductions, the daycare expenses. Earlier, there was the home heating credit. There are a number of credits that folks can take advantage of, and um, just making sure that you ask your tax preparer about them, that they're not missed in preparing your return. Um, so having that information is important. And regardless of that, if you're dealing with unique situations, or not so unique situations, with unemployment benefits or cryptocurrency, maybe you jumped on that Doja coin train and you bought and you sold, and then you bought and then you sold. There are some things that you're going to have to report on your tax return, so making sure that you talk to your tax provider about those items.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Dominique. Go ahead.
Oh, yep. Speaking of unemployment, I had wanted to touch base on that look back provision. So if you had unemployment and it was greater than your earned income this past year, that is considered unearned income. But you can use your 2019 earned income credit, your earned income wages really from 2019, and that could get you a bigger refund versus using your unearned income and trying to get that same refund. It would make a bigger refund if you were to use that 2019 earned income instead of your 2021 earned income if it is greater. It depends on your situation. Some people return back to work and didn't have much unemployment, so it may not affect them. But for those who did have a lot of unearned income due to unemployment or any other situation, this year you can use that 2019 amount in replace of your 2021.
Yeah. And just to add and to just piggyback off of what Renee talked about, with the cryptocurrency, one of the questions that we have to answer on your tax return is whether or not you had virtual currency information. If you had virtual currency transactions, so that's a question that a tax preparer, a tax professional would know to ask whether or not you had virtual currency activity. So, and if you did, we would need the statements. Um, I don't want to get into the tax law behind cryptocurrency, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. I think that's another topic of conversation. But I will say, if you had those virtual currency transactions, please provide that to your tax preparer.
Thank you. And I just want to share a quick reminder. There is a survey that we have available. It's on the screen, and it's also been put in the comment section. If you haven't already, please complete that survey, because we are giving out some gift cards. But more importantly, we use that information to make sure that the information and the sessions that we're providing are helpful, and that we're covering topics that answer the questions that you have. So please fill that survey out to let us know what you found helpful today and what other information you would find helpful in the future. And we've been answering questions as they've been coming in through the chat. So if you have questions, we've got the experts on live, and they will be answering them. So go ahead and throw those in the chat. So before we move on, is there anything else that we want to talk about related to deductions and credits?
No, I just would like to add, I want to express the importance of waiting for all your income tax documents. Any income must be reported on your tax return. This year, we had a delay in the unemployment tax forms, the 1099-Gs go out. A lot of people were in a rush to file, but you cannot file your return without all of your income. That will be unreported income. The government knows about it. They issue out the payments. You will be penalized, and it can possibly delay your refund significantly. So let's wait and be patient and wait till we receive all of our income documents before we file a return, because all it would do would put you in a worse situation later. You'll have to amend your return. It can just turn into a ball of just mess. So you want to just wait and be patient for all of your income documents to come in the mail.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on that point, if you do have to amend your return, um, it's not a quick process, right? So if you're owed additional refund money and you filed too early and then you have to amend your return to try to get the rest of your refund, I'll just share with you a personal example. I did not file my return without having all my information last year, but I did have to amend my return. And that was in June of last year, and it is February of the following year, and I'm still waiting for them to process it. So the IRS is behind.
Yeah. Just so the public understands how the IRS is working. The IRS works typically 2 to 3 years behind the actual filing year. So the reality is last year they were doing their audits and their reviews of 2018. This year they're starting to work on 2019 and possibly 2020 amendments. I've had several clients who we process, and I might add, the IRS for the first time last year allowed individuals to electronically file their 1040X, their 1040 amended return. Prior to that, we would have to paper file the tax return. It would take anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks for that tax return to get processed. Now, even though we are able to e-file that return, it's taking the IRS a lot longer to process that tax return, just because they're so far behind. They'll say it's COVID related, and we understand that. But if you have to amend, just understand that's a long process. Whether if it was 8 to 12 weeks prior to the pandemic, you need to add another couple of months to that. So, as Dominique said, it is very important that you wait for all of your tax documents, because you don't want to have to amend your tax return if you can avoid it.
Absolutely. So we've had a really engaging discussion so far in talking through information about, who should file, um, where you should get your taxes filed, who you should work with, how that process goes, what information you need, what, deductions and refunds and credits you should be on the lookout for. But there's another topic that I'm hoping that we can spend a couple of minutes on here at the end, and that's just to protect people from scams. Tax season, there are a lot of folks that have questions and need help. And whenever there are people in need, there are also people who are preying on those individuals and preying on the system. And so we want to make sure that we share some information today to keep people safe, to keep their information safe, and make sure that they have, a good, successful experience during tax season. So can we talk about maybe some of the scams that you have seen, some of your clients have experienced? And in sharing that information, hopefully we can help others avoid those situations. And I'll just open the floor up. I know that, Antonio, you're going to have to jump off soon. So if there's something that you want to share, maybe I'll let you go first.
Sure. The IRS constantly issues updates about phishing emails, and that's phishing is spelled with a PH. These are emails that come to your personal email about, hey, and you're due a tax refund, or you owe the IRS now and you have to pay X amount of dollars or we'll start to garnish your wages. I'm here to tell you the IRS will never issue you an official correspondence via email, social media sites, text message. The IRS will always issue you a letter, and it's up to you to respond to that letter within the specified timelines. The letter will have typically the IRS seal. If you are unfamiliar with the IRS seal, please visit www.irs.gov. And that is also the official IRS website address. It's not irs.com. It's not irs.org. It's not irs.biz. It is irs.gov. That is the official IRS website. If you have issues, if it's something that sounds funny, it probably is, because the IRS will not call you. They will not call you and discuss your tax information over the phone.
Renee, just to piggyback off of what everyone has said, it was in a training session that we were in, and one of the banker representatives said that cyber attacks have quadrupled since COVID. And it wasn't until he said it that it was put in perspective for me. That's a lot of people. And it's that much more important for us to protect our information with social media and the different ways to access your information. It is that much more important to protect it, especially sensitive information like your ID and social security numbers.
Yep, and I just would like to say, I'm going to be real quick. I would just like, if you suspect any identity theft or anything, or you're insecure about giving your social security number out or filing process, you can apply for identity protection PIN on irs.gov, and that PIN number will get mailed out every year around December, and you'll need that 6-digit PIN number in order to file your tax return. I would suggest that to just about everyone. It's a great thing to have, just for your own protection and security.
Yeah, absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth with the pin. I would just also say, please do not issue your social security number or even allow other people to claim your children as a way of, that's probably the biggest scam. The biggest scam is with the dependent, with the earned income credit. And I will say this and this will be my final thought, because I do have to stop. The earned income credit, the refund for the earned income credit, Congress can't release those refunds, can't start the process and release those refunds until the middle part of February. So we're now we're the 17th now. So the IRS will start to issue those refunds now. If your refund was related to the earned income credit, Congress passed that law because there was so much fraud with the earned income credit being filed early, and predatory lending practices where you would get a loan based off of your refund. We used to call them a rapid anticipation loan, which Congress deemed it illegal to offer those loans now. But people are still finding ways to commit fraud through the earned income credit. So please, I beg you, really beg you, to not give your personal information out to anyone other than a licensed or credentialed tax professional.
Thank you, Antonio. Those are all very important points of information that you've shared. Again, we want to make sure that people have a good experience, a a good, successful tax season and are able to avoid these scams, at all costs. And so I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We don't have any more questions in the chat, but we appreciate all the audience members that have participated, and we've answered those questions throughout. If you are viewing this and we are no longer live, those the information will still be in the chat. You can pull it up and contact Antonio Brown or Miss Clemmons or Miss Williams for assistance with any of your tax needs. Mr. Brown is in the Flint community, and Wayne Metro, it covers Wayne County, and they will be there to answer any questions that you may have. And if you have some small business income, one thing that we didn't really go too deep into or cover was, small businesses. If you have an S corp, or you've got a little hustle on the side, you've got some business income coming in. We didn't really talk about that, but no worries. Join us on March 14th. We'll be back here again, and we have a session completely dedicated to small businesses, and Mr. Brown will be back with us again, talking about tax information and tips for those small business owners and preparing their taxes for the season. So again, we want to thank you. If you haven't already, please fill that survey out. And just a warning, if I see your name in the comment section and you didn't fill out a survey, I'm reaching out to you because we want you to participate, and we also want you to win a gift card. So we'll go ahead, and I'm just gonna let our speakers, if there's anything else that you want to mention. Again, there's been a lot of information, a lot of nuggets that have been shared, but if there's something key that you want our audience to take away with them, I'm going to open up the floor and just let you, share a final thought before we sign off here today.
Go ahead, Ms. Clemmons.
Mr. Brown, I was going to allow you to go because I know you have to. Yes.
Okay, no, thank you. I want to appreciate Communities First for having me and bringing such a wealth of knowledge from some qualified professionals to provide this information. Just once again, make sure that if you have any questions, if there's any uncertainty that you have about preparing your tax return, reach out to one of us. Our information is there. We're ready to serve you. I just appreciate it. I look forward to coming back in March.
I just wanted to thank you for this opportunity, and to re-emphasize that there are services available for the community, for those that are in need. We are here to provide those services, and we welcome you. There is not a question that's not necessary. So if you have one, please feel free to call us and reach out. We have an answer for you.
And I would just like to say thank you for having me. I wish you guys, everybody, a successful tax filing season. If you would like to set an appointment, waynemetro.org/taxes. We offer virtual and in-person services, and we look forward to servicing you.
All right. Thank you again. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And we are signing off. Have a wonderful day. And to quote Ms. Williams, a successful tax season.